Here it is. Which one in particular, Cyril? Number two? Okay, we'll do two. So solve for x, and then we're going to solve for all the unknown letters. So I don't know if you noticed that there's a triangle here. Okay, and what do we know about all three angles in a triangle? Yeah, they add up to 180. They're supplementary. So I basically add this angle, and that angle, and I have to make that equal to 180. You're always going to have an equation. Okay? And because there are no negatives in front of my brackets, and there's nothing really I can do inside the bracket, I'm just going to get rid of it. Okay? I could have simplified this, but I'm going to leave that on purpose so I can show what I'm doing next. Morning. Okay, so I'm going to combine all of the x's, right? So that gives me 8x, and I'm left with the negative 12 is equal to 180. I don't know, I hope you're starting to get familiar with this move where I bring that negative 12 term over to the other side because I want all the numbers on the same side. So you add, so it's 8x is equal to 192. And you divide both sides by 8, and x is equal to 24 degrees. So that's how you solve for x. Okay, you have use what you know about any, like if this had been a four-sided, guys, a four-sided shape, you add up all angles, adds up to 360, right? If it's a five-sided, what's the degrees on a five-sided? We'll talk about that later. There's a pattern. We can actually figure it out for any sides. I'll show you how to do that later on. But here's solving for x. So I'm going to kind of box this in. This was like a crucial initial step, right? And now it's like a ripple effect, a domino effect, and we're going to solve for everything else. So technically, let me see if I can make this happen here. I'm just going to say that this angle here is 24 minus 12. So 24 minus 12, that's 12 degrees, right? So this angle right here is now 12 degrees. And then this one over here is 2 times 24, which is 48 degrees. I should have said that this is not drawn to scale, right? This situation here. So that's 48. This is 5 times 24, which gives me 120. So this angle here is 120. So you can actually go and replace all of those expressions with actual angle values. Okay. So there we go. And it does add up to 180, right? Just 12 and 48 is 60, plus 120 is 180. So you want to check that to make sure you didn't make any mistakes. All right, and now I'm going to use what I know, the angles I have, to figure out the rest. So for example, if you wanted angle B, what property could you use in this particular case? Vertically opposite, right? They're always exactly the same. So I'm going to go over here. Angle B is 120. And I'm going to try to make this work. Vertically opposite angles are congruent. Okay? So I've got B taken care of. C, how can I solve that one? Let's try to use something we haven't used yet. What are these two angles called? Corresponding, yes. And corresponding, and they're equal to each other. So I can say that C is 120, and I'll just go corresponding angles are congruent. So I've got that taken care of. So I'm done here. Now I need you to pay attention to this part, because when I mark tests or exams, oftentimes I get this is the crucial point. You have to make sure you don't make this mistake, okay? So sometimes students will be like, C and D, what are they? What do we call C and D? What would you call them? It's been a while. It's been a weekend, right? Alternate exterior. Yes, that's what they're called. But can we say that they're the same? We cannot say that. Because the two lines here, right? I'm traveling on this transversal. These lines are not parallel. So I cannot make that assumption that this is the same as that. It's visually, it just wouldn't work either, right? It doesn't look parallel at all. But just making sure you're done here. Now I need to go over to this side. Remember, these are my parallel lines. And we can, for example, use these two angles to figure out A. What can we say here? A is, these are supplementary, correct? That one you can always use when they're touching. So that would be what? 20, that's 132. 132. And you will just say supplementary or straight angle. Straight angle is equal to 180. I apologize, it's very crowded there. And then I could use corresponding here as well. That's basically all I've got in this case. So I'm going to use angle D is 132. They're corresponding. And corresponding angles are congruent when lines are parallel. Okay? All right, so there you have that. Does that help, Sarah? Yeah, there was a lot going on here. I probably wouldn't be doing all of this on a test. I probably would be like, just solve for X, most likely. But I like that there's lots going on here. Yes? Page 18? Sure. Which one in particular? This one here? Okay, let's do that one. Page 18. This one has 3-letter notation. You know that one is really confusing. So I will go X, Y, Z, whatever a letter I will attach to it. So let's find them first. Let's call DBC. You can even call that a number. But how about we go, we'll call X, Y, Z, and let's call this angle M. Can you go ahead and put the letters where they belong if you haven't done so already? Find angle DBC and put angle X there. Put angle Y. If you went 1, 2, 3, 4 like my key, that's fine. I just want that practice, okay? All right, so this angle DBC, right? So D, B, and C. So you traveled here, and then you traveled to C. So it's that the two sides here form angle X. And then CAD, it's C to A to D, right? So you keep doing that a couple times and you realize it's here. So that's angle Y. And then a ZAED, AED, so it's right here. That's angle Z. And M is DEC, so DEC, you do that a couple times and you realize it's this one right here. That's angle M. Okay. And then we're going to highlight, if you at all see parallel lines, highlight those. These are not parallel, but these two are. So we're going to try to connect them. We're going to hook them up. So focus on the number. Find a number first. There are two numbers there, right? I'm gonna focus on this one here first, and then see what is 39 perhaps to. Remember, I'm traveling from parallel line to parallel line. What is this one and this one called? What do we call those two? Alternate interior. As long as you're thinking it, you're fine. So we know that this is 39, so you can go ahead. I'm going to use a red pen for this. Okay, I'm gonna say this is 39 because if lines are parallel and they're connected by a transversal, it's 39. So we're going to go 39, and we're going to say alternate interior angles. Alternate interior angles are congruent. Okay, that's it. Let's focus on this number right here. I see that there's different ways of doing this, of course, but this 39, this 43, and this one are also alternate interior, and you're like, how so? I'm going to try to just focus in on this transversal and kind of see how that Z is formed. Okay? If you can see that, they're alternate interior as well. So this is 43 here. Okay? So 43, that's for Y, and that's also alternate interior. Okay, our congruent. So now we've got that. How can I proceed from here? Once you've got a bunch figured out, it can go very different ways. What would you do next? Elazar, can I ask you? What would you do next here? Sum of triangles, all right. Yes, so you see a triangle here, right? And you know two of them, so Z is my next go-to, so I'm just going to go 180 minus 43 minus 39, and what does that give me? 98. It's too early on Monday for me to do mental math. Okay, 98, and I use sum of triangles, so don't forget about triangles. They are very helpful. All right, so we've got that one. So you can actually write in here if you'd like, 98. So, and then now angle M, right? How would I do that one? Any volunteer? I know my volunteers that will always answer. They're up front here, but yeah. Straight angles are 180. There's a straight line here, right? And they're right next to each other. So I'm just going to go 180 minus 98. And that adds up to 82, right? And this is, yeah, I'm just going to say straight angles are equal to 180. Supplementary angles are equal to 180. That's all good. Please don't say this, though. M is 43, because look, Mr. Dirks, they're alternate interior. They are alternate interior, but this line is not parallel to that one, so we can't say that they're the same. That's the problem here. That's why we're not using that, okay? So keep that in mind. And also, keep in mind that there's a triangle here as well, right? So there's a lot of triangles happening that could help you out. And I could ask you for this one here. Please don't call this angle E. We would refer to, how would we refer to this angle right here? Let's call that angle N. If I asked you, hey, write that in 3-letter notation, how would you do that? We're going to add that down here. Angle, you choose. CEB, right? So you could go angle CEB, or you could go angle BEC. I don't really care. That's what we call angle N. And that would be, in this case, 98, right? Because these two are vertically opposite. So I'm going to say that's 98. And Y, vertically opposite angles are equal to each other. So I added one to this like that. All right. We're good? Elazar, was good? Out of 10? Rating out of 10? A 9. Okay, I'm going to ask you what I need to do to get a 10. But that's good. That's good. I'm happy with a 9. Okay. How How about I ask you to try this one here. This one is ugly, right? Ugly. If there ever was an ugly one, this one was it. So on page 20, I want you to try to fill this in. Try to come up with different justifications if you can. I'm not going to mark it wrong if you use the same one, even on a test, because you're not wrong, okay? But please try this one. Did I assign this one? I don't think so. I don't think so. So try this one. And I'm just going to say, I'll tell you something here, just so you know what's happening. All the way to page 31. All the way to page 31, that's all basically the same thing. It's all mystery angles, okay? So, but we're not going to do all of it today, but how about for now I just say all the way up to page 23. You just get some work time, okay? You need to get really good at it. I'm not going to, until you've done a bunch of pages, you should not be doing anything else, okay? So give this a try. I'm going to look for the key. And don't check the key right away. Check it after. But make sure you use a pencil, hopefully, right? Don't use a pen. And use highlighters. That is absolutely a good idea. And try to fill this in. This one is a little tricky. So if you're like, you know what, Mr. Ricks, I can't go all like this crazy right now. I need something a little easier. Flip through the pages and see if there's something that you find that you can tackle right now. Okay? So page 20 to 23 for now. See how that goes. So, what shape is this again? If you go outside? Parallelogram, yes. So there's something special about a parallelogram. Okay, if you know that these two sides are parallel, and this one is a parallelogram. Okay, and what do we know about a parallelogram is we know that these two angles will be the same, and we know that these two angles will also be the same. So that's something that makes it a little bit easier, even though it's overwhelming at times because there's so many lines going all over the place, okay? So let's start with that, and then let's see where that goes. Which ones should I start with? And I'm not even going to ask because everybody's going to look at something different. How about right now I'm going to start with D. Why? Because I don't need to know anything about parallel lines or anything. These are vertically opposite. All right, so I'm going to start with that one. Please tell me where you start when you do one of these. And so the vertically opposite. But Mr. Erickson, I used sum of triangle because I did it a slightly different way. That's fine. So that's how I start. And what should I do next? Well, I'm focusing on this number here, Mr. Dirks. I'm looking at numbers. I'm traveling along this transversal to the other parallel line. Remember, these are parallel. And A is 50. I know that this is my second one. I know that that's 50. Alternate interior angles are equal to each other. Boom. And maybe for a lot of you, it's probably a good idea to fill that in with the numbers so that you know what you have to work with. Okay. Next, I'm going to use H here. I'm going to do that one next. Third, Y. I'm going to highlight this. There's a straight angle right here. And that means that these two angles here must be supplementary. They add up to 180. That's right. So H is my third. So what is that? 115. And I use a straight angle is equal to 180. Zoom out of it. Okay. All right. So we've got that maybe right in 115 here. Okay. What else can I do? I'm going to focus in on G. Okay. G is 4 here. That's my fourth angle. And I also notice a straight line right here. And look at that, you should always be able to do one of these and get a hat, right? So these three angles must add up to 180 combined. So that tells me that to find G, I'm going to go 180 minus 50 minus 65, and G is 65? 65? Okay. Oh, that brings me to another point. Hold on. Straight angle is equal to 180. So this is 65. G is, okay. Yeah, so I'm going to write that down. What else can I do here? Can I, oh, I see. There's I here and the H and I are alternate exterior. So that's my next one here. So that's 115 alternate exterior angles must be equal to each other because we're dealing with parallel lines. Okay. F, if I have 50 and 95, I focus in on this triangle here. So I'm going to use sum of triangles to figure out F. And I know that F is 35. Sum of triangle, that's what I used. So that is 35 here. That's my sixth angle that I determined. E. How can I find E? It's kind of messy, but there's a straight angle right here, and there's three angles that are along it. I don't know E yet, but I do know F and I. So I'm going to say that to figure out E, I'm going to go 180 minus F minus I. So 180 minus F, which is 35, minus I, which is 115, and E gives me 30. It's a lot of work making these questions. Okay? Got to make sure it all jives. Okay, got that. C is next. Let's try to look for something else. I'm going to use alternate interior, C and E. Okay, I have E, so I'm going to make that 30, and I'll just say alternate interior angles are congruent. That would be my eighth find. And B is last but not least. I can use alternate interior with B and F, like F and B are alternate interior, so I'm going to make that 35. Why, Mr. Derrickson? Why can you do both of them? Because you have a parallelogram. Okay, then that works. And so this is alternate interior angles are congruent to each other. So that's how I filled that one in. It was a lot of work. And yes, you did it differently, and that is fine. Okay, that is fine. What's my time here? I don't know if you did everything to 23. I think some of you did get to 23. I would definitely say that that is, in my opinion, the bare minimum for tomorrow to come in up until 23. But I think you can do the rest already. So I'm just going to say 27 to 29. If you were on task, you should have been able to do quite a bit. If you don't do everything up to 29, that's fine, but I would say get more practice in to get a really good handle on this. Before I conclude, I want to do one more that is, I'm surprised you didn't ask, but maybe you didn't get to it. Let's go back to 19. I don't know, maybe you looked at the key and you're like, yeah, that makes sense. But what if I asked you to solve for x in this situation? Do we have a name for these two angles? They're both exterior. But are they alternate exterior? No. So we actually have nothing to relate them. We don't. So that's where you kind of have to use your creativity. What are these two here? They're vertically opposite, right? So you can technically say that this angle is also 3x plus 4. Do we have a name for these two now? They're alternate, but they're not alternate interior, nor are they alternate exterior. It just doesn't work. So you still don't have anything. What are these two angles? Vertically opposite, yes. Do we have a name for these two? CIAs. All right. So then you go 5x plus 40, 3x plus 4, right? And you solve for x. I'm going to try to bring in some negatives. Like if there had been a negative here, you would have had to make sure you distribute. So 5x and 3x is 8x. 40 and 4 is 44. That's equal to 180. It's 8x, 180 minus 44, right? The 44 comes over subtracting. And that's 136. Divide both sides by 8. And that would be 17 degrees, okay? And if I ask you to solve for A and B and C, you would have to insert this into X here, right? Then go 3 times 17 plus 4 to get A. Angle A is, I'm just going to give you the answer, or did I not give you the answer? I didn't. I'll just leave it for today because it's already almost home time. But you would just insert, and that's how you find your angles, okay?